This episode is brought to you by Portland Distro. If you like underground music, movies, and more, go to portlanddistro.com for licensed merch, vinyl, CDs, and more. Plug in the discount code 10OFF, TENOFF, for a 10% discount at portlanddistro.com. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Everything Went Black podcast. This week is a special episode. I know I say that a lot, but this time around, it really is. Two of my favorite people in the entire world joined me, and of course I'm talking about Andrew Hernandez and Mike Goncalves. They're good friends of mine. We've known each other for a really long time. Andrew and I played together for years in Tombs, and he's a dear friend of mine, and it's really, really meaningful to me that both of these gentlemen joined me on creating Scorpion Throne. Basically, we catch up, we talk about the band, we talk about other projects, other bands that we all have going on, and it was just a really, really great time to get these guys online, and I had a lot of fun, so I hope you guys also have a lot of fun. Now, of course, before we get going, we've got to give a rundown of our podcasting brothers. Of course, I'm talking about Horror Wolf 666 on Monday. That is hosted by Brandon Legion. Tuesday, Into the Necrosphere, the best extreme metal podcast on the internet, brought to you by Jackie Smith. Wednesday, of course, is Everything Went Black. Thursday is Necromaniacs, ruminations on all things horror, brought to you by myself, Mike Scandato, and Jeff Kashid. And the newest entry into this Horseman of the Apocalypse, we have Carl Hikara with Soul Knox coming at you on Sundays with all things occult and weird. I'd also like to thank everyone who's supporting us on Patreon. For as little as $1 a month, you can be a supporter of the show and get access to all of the bonus content. For $5 a month, you get access to the bonus content as well as early access to all of the episodes. And I just rolled out the sponsorship level, which is $25, and this is geared towards those of you out there who are trying to promote something, be it a business, a band, any kind of special project. For $25 a month, you get a custom ad read, and it can be for one episode a month, custom ad read, $25. You can do it for as long as you want, multiple months, 1 month, and you get all the other things that the other two levels have access to. Thank you very much. It's been a really cool experience, meeting these people in some cases in person, actually. And in general, it's just been a very, very cool way to create a space for us all to communicate. There's messaging apps where you can hit me up directly, discuss things, Q&As, all sorts of stuff, as well as what seems to be the hit, the Long Shadows series on there, which is me and Ralph talking about weird fiction and other forms of dark literature. On with the show.
What's up, dudes? How you doing?
When was the last time the three of us actually were together? Like looking at each other. I know we're not actually together, but seeing each other visually. When was the last time? Mike, I saw you just a few weeks ago. Andrew, I can't even remember the last time I saw you.
Mike, I haven't seen you in for fucking ever, dude. For real, man. Seriously, dude. I haven't seen you since the West Coast, Mike. That's the last time. That's the last time I saw you was Tombs in San Francisco.
Yeah, I think Carson was there too, wasn't he?
I saw you after that. Yeah, I think
how long has it been that you've been living on the East Coast again?
3 years.
Yeah, so it's been a minute, definitely.
Yeah, big minute.
Well, and a lot of shit's changed in your life too, man.
Yeah, man, right? I got 2 kids now. Yeah, so pretty big change for sure. And a lot's changed in all of our lives in the last couple of years, of course.
Yeah, I live in New Jersey now.
I know, man, this is it, the new digs. I'm looking at it, I'm seeing it. It's cool, man.
With my spacious kitchen,
I love it. It looks great, dude.
Thank you.
It's awesome.
Yeah, welcome to the dark side, Mike. Jersey.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you guys for being part of Scorpion Throne. I mean that was something I've been working on by myself for a really long time. And Andrew, you and I have been talking about playing together literally right after I think you left the band. We started talking about doing another sort of project or something.
Totally.
We had a couple of attempts to do things, and now we have this thing that we're working on, and I appreciate your involvement, and it means a lot to me that you're involved, and it's cool. It's like we're back in the saddle again, even though
Fuck yeah.
we're probably not going to be like touring or anything like that, but we're still being creative together, and I think that's awesome.
I fucking love it, dude.
Yeah, and Mike, thanks for joining in, and moving forward, I think I like to do more collaborative, have everyone collaborate and make stuff that's like more of like a group effort instead of just a bunch of demos that I have put together. And I think we got a good start. You know what I mean? I think we got a good start going.
Definitely,
Yeah,
dude.
man.
I haven't really had a chance to digest that new thing that you just sent me, but I gotta check it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's I want to try to work in different ways. I mean, instead of sending over like complete songs or whatever. Like I was just like I said, even if it's just stuff with no guitars and it's just synths and bass and drums and just there's no limitations as to what we can do creatively, and just kind of I just think that the character of the three of us playing together comes out, and regardless of like what we decide to do, it's going to sound cool. You know what I mean? And like I said, Mike, you're like a multi-instrumentalist, like Mike, you're vocalist, bass player, guitar player, what else?
Fucking salsa dancer.
Salsa dancer.
actually got a Cuban tress behind me as well. But yeah, thanks, Mike. Seriously, it's really an honor to work on a project with both of you guys, because I look up to you both of you guys as musicians and as people. So it's really cool to be part of this,
So Andrew, I can't even really remember when I met you, man. I was thinking about this, and I just remember like it was we had a common friend, Hunter Shindo, right? Was that how you and I actually met?
No, dude.
No?
We met before that, man. We met way before I even knew who Hunter was. I would say that we actually met the first time. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure I booked Anodyne in Greenfield, Massachusetts.
Yeah. Okay. I remember playing a couple shows in Greenfield. And then I remember there was like a festival type thing that you booked.
Yes.
Now, was that the first time we met before that though?
We probably met before that because I was friends with Eric Clark from Delvic.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yep. Yeah. That probably is how you and I first, because you're like that crazy guy in the pit all the time. And I was like, look at this guy, he's doing like hip escapes like in the fucking pit, And I was like, I'm like, oh shit, that's I became like one of my closest friends.
Yeah, man. I was like, 100% punk gear, like, freaking mohawk colored hair, whatever, like all that stuff. And definitely like, yeah, that festival you're talking about was this thing that we did. I think we did 3 of them in Greenfield, Massachusetts at the Polish picnic grounds, and they were called Youth Ablaze. And what we did is we actually raised money for the fire department for like these heat imaging, I don't know, it was like a headset or something that they used, but it was so that they could go into, you know, houses or areas where there were fires and they couldn't see if there was fire beyond the door, and they'd use this heat imaging so that they could be safer. And we like raised money for this. So we did like 3 of these Youth Ablaze festivals, and they were just freaking wild, man, you know. And yeah, I remember Anodyne and Delvic played one. And then there was like a infamous one that I think was just all local bands that like the lady who worked with us tried to like shut down, and everyone ended up like jumping up and grabbing the rafters, and like it was insane. Yeah, shutting down didn't happen. Yeah, it was
I remember there was some other thing that might have been even outside.
This was outside.
Oh, okay. So this, all right. Did Knives play that too?
You know, that was so long ago, dude, that I might have done some work on a Youth Ablaze from Ithaca with the other organizer, Jaime. Gotta give credit where credit's due. I might have done some work from Ithaca on that. I can't recall. If it wasn't Knives that played it, though I think we did, it would have been my first band, which was called The Right.
Right.
Like Right. Yeah.
It's got a heavy sound to it, you know.
Yeah, we're kind of like a very I don't know. You know, I started that band actually when I was a teenager. And Dan Howard, who also played
Country Dan.
guitar. Yeah, Country Dan.
Wow.
He played some rhythm guitar in Tombs for a tour, and played in Iwo Jima Med Kit here in Ithaca. He was back in that. He played guitar in that back in the day. And yeah, man, you know, I think I started that when I was like 14 playing guitar or something. And then eventually I was like, you know, the drummer had the drum set in the room, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna try to fuck around with this. And I started playing drums, and the drummer was like, you know, true quote was just like, you know, dude, you're better than me in 2 months, and I've been playing for 2 years. And he fucking quit, and he just gave me his drum kit. And his name's Jed Sneed. You know, I still stay in touch with him a little bit. He's like one of my best skateboarder friends from back in high school. I mean, if it wasn't for like things like that, I wouldn't even start playing. You know, I appreciate that. So anyways, man, that band might have played, you know, like this band, The Right, that was like this misguided power violence band from Western Massachusetts.
And then you showed up in New York, and that's like when I started seeing you around more. I think. Like when you, like one day you were there, and like I was like, oh yeah, that's that dude with like the mad like long hair, and like, you know, the crazy pit guy, and yeah, that I knew that booked our shows, couple shows we played up in Mass. And then that's when you and I actually, I think, started to become more friendly, right? Like, because I saw you around more. And then you were playing at Azra.
Yep.
And that's, you know, I put out you guys' LP.
Yeah, thank you.
The now defunct Black Box Recordings. And that was the real transformation that I saw with you in your playing. You know, it was like, you know, I think I might have seen one of your early, probably the first or second show that band played, because, you know, the late Monty, you know, rest in peace.
Yeah.
That was, you know, he formed the band, and he was tight with Anodyne's drummer Joel Stallings, so he was part of the extended group of people, you know, that I knew and I ran around with back then. And I remember the first time I saw Azra play was in the basement of North 6. Remember that? They used to do shows there all the time.
Yeah, man. There was that freaking Mike G. You ever go to that place, the basement of North 6? I saw Demilich there.
Was that in Greenpoint?
No, man, it was in Williamsburg.
Right on 6th, right on North 6th Street, which is now like filled with shoe stores and like yuppie like restaurants and stuff.
Dude.
Man.
Yeah. They used to have this. They had this aquarium behind on the stage that was like, you know, just algae and like, you know, might as well have been like dead fish and algae.
Was it a pizza place upstairs at one point?
No, you're thinking of the Charleston.
Okay.
Oh yeah, Charleston. That was another infamous.
There's a basement.
Basement there. Yeah. North 6 was in the basement of a legitimate venue, like a real deal, like rock club. You know, like Neurosis played upstairs. I saw them there. I saw like I don't know how many bands I saw.
I saw the fucking Champs there. It was
Yeah, the Champs. Yep. Yeah, that was awesome. And yeah, but I always wanted to believe that there was some like mutant fish that thrived in that cesspool or whatever. You know what I mean? It was like there was just this fucked up like aquarium behind where the bank's like
So weird.
Like
built into the wall. You know,
Swamp Thing lives in there or something.
yeah, probably. Yeah. Alec Holland.
You know, I never saw. I never saw. I don't know if I saw Anodyne North Six. I would almost think that I must have, but I do remember seeing when the short-lived version of Disnile.
Oh, the one that was the only show that lineup played where I sang.
Yep.
And the Joel Stallings and the bass player from Anodyne and Andrew Orlando and Tom.
Yep.
That was literally the only. And we were playing with Baroness.
Baroness played that show.
Baroness played that show. It was Baroness was actually the headline. Right. Like, I mean, well, yeah, they were, but no one, it was back when there was like 40 people would go see them.
Yeah.
And they were like all like dressed like in punk rocker, like kind of style, like crust looking dudes. And, they look like kind of like road warrior punks. You know what I mean?
Totally.
And that was like, over the years, John always brings up that show, John Baisley. Like I would see him and he always we always bring up that show that we played together with only that one time that band ever played with that lineup. Because then we left the band and then they continued on without us. And, and Andrew and Tom split. And then Tom just kind of took the band over, which was kind of fucked up actually, because the whole concept was Andrew's idea, And Andrew was like the guy that was in Black Army Jacket, which was like, a band that people respected, and kind of like any kind of breaks they had really came because of him, But whatever. But so when you and I first started playing in Tombs, that's when we were into a little bit of that period. And then you had the project, and that's where I met Mike G. Painted Rust.
Yep.
Yeah, that's when you came into the fold.
Yeah,
that was fucking cool.
Yeah, I actually remember seeing Tombs open up that tour package with Isis and Pelican on the Manhattan date.
Yeah.
And that was the first
Irving
time
Plaza.
I saw you guys. Yeah. Irving Plaza. That's the first time I saw you guys. And I was blown away. I was like, this band's
cool.
so sick.
Thank you.
And it was a sick show. Then I was one day trolling on Craigslist, looking at ads for like, wow, let's see what's on here, man. And I saw a band looking for a death metal vocalist, and with the drummer from Tombs, I was like, yo, that band's sick. And whatever, I sent in the demos, and that's when I met Drew. And we were practicing in Brooklyn and all that stuff, and it was awesome. That's where I met Pete as well.
Oh, no shit. You didn't, I thought you guys all knew each other from Jersey. No. Oh my God.
I met Pete in Painted Rust as well. And then Pete ended up, we started doing Replicant and everything, and that's a whole other story. But yeah.
I thought all you guys knew each other, like kind of like organically, you know what I mean? I figured like, well, you knew Rich. Andrew, you knew Rich, right? Emery.
Yeah, me. Yeah, of course. Yeah, so that's why I moved to New York City actually initially. Really? Yeah, from Ithaca, so I could join Blood Red Residual with Dan Rivera and Rich Emery. Okay. So like, I recorded like I did like a little like session with them or something here with Andrew Summers with Rich, and it was just this thing we did. I wonder what happened to that. I'm sure Summers has it. And then, like they didn't have a drummer. And then I went down and I recorded in New Jersey, like this like 3-song demo with them. And this dude, Walter, did these like brutal vocals on it. And it was before Eric Clark joined, like way before Eric Clark joined the band. So then they still didn't have a drummer. And I was like burnt out on the Ithaca scene. I want to challenge myself. And so, yeah, anyways, I ended up moving to New York. Well, actually, I lived on Rich's couch for like 6 weeks or something. I think we only listened to like, Cause of Death and like human remains, cause of death, and like vomit remnants for like 6 weeks. Like that's it. Like nothing else was on that CD player, man. That was it. Maybe Suffocation,
record.
like just the first 3 songs on Effigy or something. We didn't even get past those, very limited.
There was like a scratch on the CD, so like you can only have those first 3 songs playing.
Right, you can only go so far. Yeah.
See, I didn't know that. I always wondered what brought you to Brooklyn, man. I just know that, like I said, one day you showed up. You know what I mean? I was like, oh yeah, it's that dude from Massachusetts.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's a trip, man. Because I thought, like, you and Pete knew each other for a long time. I knew Andrew, knew Rich, and then I can't remember the bass player's name.
Charlie.
Yeah, Charlie.
Yeah.
Yes, Charlie. And I figured you guys were all bros from like Jersey and the whole. So it was like an ad, and that's how you met Pete.
It was literally a Craigslist ad.
Yeah,
everybody all in the same place.
Yeah,
it's so funny. I was trying to chase that high afterwards, going on Craigslist, but never worked out again like that. It was so crazy. My life's changed, man.
Can't even imagine meeting anyone knows what's going on. Because when I lived in Boston, I remember like trying to find, like when I first moved there, I was trying to find. That's actually, well, it's funny. Like I tried to find a band to play in because I only knew like a few people, and I would put up ads and I'd answer ads, and like people would contact me, and I was very descriptive about the stuff I was into, and I was like, so which one of those bands are you really the most into? I'd ask them questions like that, you know what I mean, and have people just don't pay attention to that shit. They just like they want to be in a band, and they don't give a fuck if you're saying like this sounds like a Green Day or like Deicide. It's like to them, it's like they can do whatever you want. You can just show up and like join in. Yeah. Wow, it's fucking insane, man.
That's amazing, dude. Putting those two, like, I would love, like, I know you're not saying this is what it was, but imagine putting those two like on like one of those like flyers where it has the little tear off notes on it, and it's like for fans of Deicide and Green Day, like, like.
I've seen those things where it's like people just list all their favorite bands, and it just ends up being like Rush and Dimmu Borgir. And Tom Petty. It's like I love all this stuff. We'll see what comes out.
Well, it's funny though. Even in that scenario, that's indirectly that's how I met Josh Scott in Boston. Was I had the ad up there, and first I met the drummer that ended up playing in that band, and he was, after playing with a million different drummers, I ended up staying with Brian, and then this guy Kev, who ended up being the singer. Josh was like his was his roommate. And when Brian and I decided we were going to start the band, we were at he had a practice space, so we were at his space. And then Josh showed up with Kev, and we were waiting for another guy to try out for bass. And Brian asked Josh, he's like, oh yeah, man, what kind of bass do you have? Like, where's your gear? And Josh is like, I don't play bass. So we couldn't find a bass player, so we forced him to play in the band. Like, it was like we literally like made him play bass in the band because he was like living with Kev, and we needed a guy, and he knew about all the stuff we were into. Like, he was in all the same like Melvins and stuff like that. He was into all that stuff, so it made sense for him we can molded him into our bass player.
Did you play guitar, or like it was
a little bit? He had like he had a guitar, but he fucked around on guitar, but it wasn't like until he decided we need a band, we have a band and we need a bassist, so it's you.
Yeah.
So start practicing. These are you got to put your hands here for these parts, and and then go for it. You know what I mean? And obviously that dude ended up becoming like a very proficient, bassist and very accomplished musician.
Yeah, totally. There's Radiation Black Body and everything.
Awesome.
Yeah, he's got tons of different things he did now. But my theory about drums, though, man, and it's like the fact that you took to it so easily, and so I'm not saying it was easy because obviously I know what your work ethic is when it comes to rehearsal. But I've always felt like drummers are born, like you're born with that ability. It just needs to be like activated. You know what I mean? Because I don't have that ability at all. Like I tried that. I wanted to play drums when I was a kid. Like that was like the first thing I really wanted to play. And I just couldn't fucking get the hang of it, man. I just didn't have like that coordination, you know. And then there were other kids that I knew that just like got behind the drum set and everything just came alive. You know what I mean? Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I wanted to play bass originally, actually. You know, that was my thing when I was a kid. You know, it was I remember I was watching USA Up All Night, and they had a live Go-Go's set on there, and the Go-Go's were playing live, and they had this fucking brutal like bass sound, like live.
No shit.
I mean, the Go-Go's have like pretty cool bass lines in their songs.
Yeah, good band.
And like, she was fucking laying it down on the bass, and I was like, it almost sounded like a Black Sabbath like bass sound, playing that style of music, and it was live. You know what I mean? So it wasn't like some lip sync like bullshit. And I was like, how about that, man? And then she was only playing like a couple of notes because her songs are like really simple. And that's when I was like, all right, I'm going to learn how to play an instrument. I'm going to be in a band. I'm going to play bass because it seems like, you know, I could probably handle doing that shit. And it sounds cool. You know what I mean? But then, you know, obviously it's not as easy as that.
Have you played bass in a band, Mike?
Well, technically, I played bass in that band with Dave, that King Generator band.
Right.
Did vocals and bass on that. And I played all the bass lines on the Grand Annihilation Tunes record. So,
oh, word.
Yeah, so you know, cat's out of the bag. I was good credited that way on the record. But yeah, there was a lot of misadventures during that period, right around the time we made that record. So we didn't even have a bass player in the studio. So I played 95% of the bass lines, and Eric actually played a couple of songs.
Fucking Rutan?
Nice.
Yeah.
No shit.
Yep.
Crazy, dude. That's wild.
That was a very, you know, that was like a will to power record, you know. Just you gotta fucking keep going, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like the record was like gonna come out on like literally the biggest label we've ever been associated with. So, and there was like literally no lineup at the time we made the album. It's crazy,
That's
right?
So wild. Looking
back on it, it's like I don't know how the fuck it even came out as well as it did, really, you know. Yeah.
It's crazy. On that King Generator album, it's that guy from the United Kingdom. What's that? That cilantro guy. What's that guy?
The cilantro guy. Jamie Thompson.
Yeah, that's him.
But why do you call him that? I feel like I almost remember why you call him a cilantro guy, but I don't remember what it is exactly.
One time we were at Dave's, like, you know, back in the day, Mike G, when Tunes would go through RVA through Richmond, we'd stop by Dave Whitty's and he would hook it up. Like,
sick.
I mean, that guy, you know, he's like the beer guru. He knows all the shit. And, you know, he was the Three Floyds captain, you know, before anybody knew about Three Floyds. So we'd go there. Yeah. He would have all that stuff. He would do little tastings and everything. He'd show us all these beers and it was so cool. And we'd all hang out with him. And I think Jamie, you know, man, like, you know, I don't know that anyone would listen to this and be offended, but let me just tell you, in no way would I be offended by this.
We don't care about offending people.
I'm like 41, you know, so I'm from a different time. And also it's me. So if I'm not offended, like, it's kind of cool. It's okay. Cause you know, it's like me. So like, he was like, hey man, hey, what do you think about cilantro, you know, or something, you know, that's what, you know, he has an accent, he doesn't sound like that, but, you know, and I was like, what? He's like, you know, cilantro is like, you can put in a lot of things, like, you know, how do you use it and stuff, and he was like, you know, joking around with me about this, so now all the time, I'll freaking just hit him up with a message and be like, hey man, what are you doing with your cilantro today? Like, what are you putting your cilantro in this year, man? How you doing? Hey, I see you're riding a bike a lot. do you eat a lot of cilantro before you go on your bike ride? You know, like, so that's it. You know, me and him, we just joke about cilantro.
Yeah, he's a good dude. He had some health issues, man, but he's recovered.
Yeah,
I was down in, some like heart related things.
Holy shit.
Yeah, but he's okay now.
He's a great dude.
Yeah, I was just down in Richmond a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, but yeah, he's I remember hanging out with Dave was awesome. Man. These like tiny glasses that we would fill with these, like one expensive beer where we would split it up among like 5 different people.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah, it was pretty cool. You know, but you know, in addition to Mike, you're kind of a man of many bands too, man. Like you've got all right, Replicant, Windfarer, right? And you're also in a band with Justin Ninja, or the Tunes drummer. That's kind of like an all-star band. It's like you, Ninja, and Dan Higgins.
Yeah.
Right?
And then the two blokes from Wolf Cloak.
Oh, you know, I have to hear it. I don't know that band.
No, it's just funny. I think one time Justin was telling somebody about the band, and it was written up as these two, because they're both named Joe, for the two, the guitar player and the bass player. And he said he had the 2 Joes from Wolf Cloak, and then the guy took it as these 2 dudes from this band, Wolf Cloak. So I kind of like, I like to refer to them as the nameless ghouls in the band almost. But no, they're solid dudes. Yeah, so been doing Replicant with Pete since Painted Rust dissolved, and we kind of just wanted to keep playing music together and playing death metal together. And actually, before all that stuff materialized, Pete actually joined Windfarer on guitar for a little bit as well. And you might remember we played a show at ABC No Rio with Tombs.
Yeah, I do remember
really
that.
cool.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, Pete was in the band then too. And
yeah,
and yeah, like I said before, man, doing that whole like meeting you guys changed my life, and I also wouldn't know Pete because of that. And me and Pete been involved in Replicant and hanging out together, and we're like really close friends too ever since that. And so I have that. The Windfarer thing, I've been doing it since 2009, and just been writing music for that, and slowly turning into a full band over the years. And then the Putrescension stuff has been with just hopped in on vocals with a solid group of dudes that are always jamming together, and it's just so fucking awesome to be a part of that as well. We got an album that we have recorded, and just keep writing music for that together. It's fucking awesome.
Did Bobby record that album? Like
Bobby,
yeah.
We tracked it with Ben. Did a lot of the tracking.
Oh yeah, okay. Big Ben. Yep. Okay.
Yeah, Big Ben.
Yeah. That's what Bobby calls.
Viola Ben.
Yeah, Big Ben. And yeah, it's just really cool, and I feel really lucky to be able to just play music with a bunch of my friends, and just fucking love it, man. Just want to be creative and do all this shit. It's like, even I just love fucking making stuff, man. So
Hill, have you heard this guy's solo record?
Mike G?
I don't know if I can talk about. Is that okay, Mike? That I talk
No,
about
yeah,
it?
totally.
I know it's a pseudonym and stuff, so I don't want to blow your spot up, but you know.
The people found out already, kind of. I found out.
What's it called? Salta or something?
Celtar, yeah.
Yeah, Salta.
Yeah, it's just one-man atmospheric black metal. Just having fun with that too.
Program all the drums and stuff.
Program all the drums, man.
Sick.
Is anything available to listen to? Is anything out there to listen to?
Yeah. It's actually on Spotify, the last one.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Do you have a Bandcamp page?
Yeah, it's on Bandcamp as well. Celtar.bandcamp.com.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to put links in the show notes for all the different bands that we all have. Like, I'm going to, in the show notes, there'll be links to everything. So before I put this out, I'll get all links collected from everybody, so that people can check it out.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I've seen all of the Future Sentient shows actually.
Yeah, you were at all of them.
That's awesome.
It's funny.
Yeah, totally. I didn't even realize that. I thought it seems like you guys have been playing it didn't feel like first shows to me because because everyone's got so much experience in the band that it felt very natural, like on seeing you guys on stage. Like no one seemed like, you know how it is when you're in you play a show for the first time, you're like, what the fuck's going on? You know what I mean? Like everyone seemed more comfortable on stage,
Yeah, thanks. I mean, like the thing is Ninja is a professional drummer. He's on top of his game. Dom has been playing bands for forever. He's a great guitar player, and the other dudes in Wolf Cloak, Joe and Joe, they're just serious about playing. So it's like I think it all clicks, and yeah, I mean, like you said, it's like not our first rodeo. It's just we're just playing,
That last show was real fun. The one that was out on Staten Island. I always forget the name of that bar.
Mother Pug Saloon.
Yeah, Mother Pugs. That's right.
Yeah, I've never been there before that.
We played there with Candiria one time.
Yes,
like a long time ago.
I don't know how you guys fit on there, man. Like such a small space. It must have been nuts.
I remember that. It's funny when I went there. I remember it being bigger than it actually was for some reason. I don't know. It was just like one of these things, and somehow we fit on that stage. Maybe.
What band played with Candiria?
Tombs played with them.
No
it's
shit.
Insane.
Yeah. And that was when we had the synth player. So there was like 5 guys trying to get the 5 guys on stage.
Did you guys fit on stage?
We don't have to talk about it. I said enough bad things about him in this book that was published. It's funny. There's a book, a U.S. black metal book that came out.
Oh yeah, sick.
And they had a thing. They featured Tombs in one. Us, Black Amble, a bunch of other bands. And I took that opportunity to break down. Because the guy asked me questions, and I was like, I didn't hold back. You know what I'm trying to say? So, it is what it is. You gotta be truthful about these things. You know what I mean?
Don't pull your punches, man.
Hey, man, there's a skate video back in the '90s called "The Truth Hurts."
Sometimes the truth does hurt.
Yeah.
You're right. I mean, regardless of all that stuff. That dude is super talented though, but he's a fucking scumbag.
Sometimes you don't. Sometimes things that are meant to be, you don't mesh well with people, and it clashes. And
yeah, but also there really are just bad people. Even if I didn't mesh with somebody, I wouldn't try to undermine their entire program. You know what I mean? I briefly played in a side project with some of the guys from Earth of Trance, and it just didn't fit. It wasn't like we didn't met. I mean, we're friends, but musically it didn't really work. But I didn't try to destroy their fucking bands. You know what I mean? I didn't try to go behind their back and tell people things and do all this underhanded shit. It just didn't work out musically. And they ended up continuing, and they put out some stuff, and I was like, oh, cool. I like it. It was good. So then there are people out there who are just fucking evil fucks, and sometimes the truth hurts, like Andrew said.
Yeah.
What was that unearthly? I remember you starting to do that. Was that was that what ended up being Serpentine Throne?
Oh no, Serpentine Path. No.
Yeah,
it was
Path. Yeah, sorry.
It was it was after Serpentine
Throne.
Yeah. It was after that. It was a thing called I think it ended up being called Humanless. And I think they had they put the demo out somewhere, but
okay.
Ryan ended up singing on it, which is perfect because that dude, him and Jay together was like a team, and because originally I was just going to do vocals on it, and him and actually, have you heard Ryan? Ryan's in a band with Will Smith.
Whoa.
Have you heard that?
No.
No.
You know, I'm not talking about the actor Will Smith. I'm talking about.
I was like, wait a second.
No, not it's Jada Pinkett Smith, Ryan Lipinski. No, it's Will Smith from Artificial Brain.
Oh yeah, sick.
Okay.
That's sick too.
Okay.
It's called oh man, dude.
Is it Afterbirth?
No, dude. It's so fucking awesome. It's all right. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I have this band is fucking amazing.
I can't wait to hear what it is, man. I never even heard of it. I'm like, what the hell? What?
Will Smith has
Will
such a
and
cool
one of the
name,
guys from Unearthly Trance. That sounds like a really cool mix up, man. That's cool. That's an underrated band, Unearthly Trance. You know, like I think they got a lot of respect in the underground in New York City, and maybe you know what, they play in Japan. So what the fuck am I talking about?
I feel like they probably I think European, like I think in Europe and in the UK specifically, I think they did really well. Because you know how like in the UK, like bands like you know, like Electric Wizard and Ramses and all these kind of doom bands, or that's like their sound sort of. Like UT kind of fit really well with those bands. And I always feel like Jay would always talk about how they did well over in Europe and stuff like that.
They're so much uglier though. You know, they like so much more in New York, I guess. I don't know. Like I feel like
they have like a black metal kind of thing a little bit too.
Yeah, totally. Like, you know, perhaps Lino-esque, if I may. I don't know if that's fair, but
yeah, I can see that. You know, that's a dude like I really, all of his bands I thought were great. I mean, Villains and, you know, like specifically Villains I really dug. You know, there was that other Dying Light record he made.
Dude, I fucking listened to the Dying Light so much. I swear to God, Mike, I try to play through that. Like listening to it, that's like I'll play through it in my garage and I'll take videos and I'll send them to Brandon Thomas and be like, is this right? It'll be like, you know, that's close. It's this actually. And I remember I sent him back a video and I was like, is this it? And he's like, that's it. And I'm like, oh my God. You know,
have you heard those guys, Mike?
Dying Light. Yeah, I think Pete's a really big fan of them, and he's sent me their stuff before. It's like
he's a huge fan of The Killing Plan, which is great. That album's fantastic.
Yeah.
But you know, I came out at the ground level at the Survival Guide to the Apocalypse. But both those albums, Survival Guide to the Apocalypse and The Killing Plan, they're both very unique albums. They're different because Lino sings on the first one, so it's a lot more kind of black metal, fantastic guitar solos. And of course, you got one of the best metal drummers, the best metal drummer of New Jersey, the fucking god, Brandon Thomas. I mean, you know, anybody that knows, anybody that's down, they know Brandon Thomas is like the fucking god. He's the godfather, you know. He's the godfather of like the smooth blast. He's the godfather of the groove in like death metal. I mean, that guy is such an inspiration to like everybody. I mean, you look around like Dave Whitty, obviously, like pretty much BT's like protege almost. You know, the guy's we all have so much respect for him. And then you look at someone like Brian Fajardo, you know, huge BT fan, you know, like Bron Daler, you know, like everybody loves Brandon Thomas. He was just a really super ridiculously talented drummer that not a lot of people know about.
Yeah, you know, it's funny. He I would say in the tri-state area, he's like a rock star. You know what I mean? But like, not a lot of people outside of that even know that dude. You know?
Totally.
Yeah. So that band is called Reeking Aura.
Reeking Aura. I've heard that name.
Okay, that's a sick name.
Yeah, they have something out on Profound Lore.
Oh, word.
Yeah, so Ryan and Will Smith are in it, and it's like really, really intense, man. It's like you know, death metal. Like I never really heard Ryan play that kind of guitar playing, you know, and it's cool. You know, Ryan lives out here in Jersey too. I don't know if any of you guys knew that. He moved out of Brooklyn or Queens or wherever the hell he lived.
I'm gonna check that out, man. I just pulled it up on my phone. Reeking Aura. I'm gonna check that out.
Reeking Aura.
Yeah. Andrew, so I found out about this band that you're in. I remember you were telling me about this conceptually, but you never told me the name of it. And then I was listening to Eugene Robinson's podcast, and then he mentioned he was in a band with you. And I was like, how come I don't fucking know about it? But then I remember you played me some like very, very rough stuff from like a long time ago.
I didn't send it to you. I thought I sent you the whole thing.
Hell no. You didn't remember.
That's my mistake. My apologies.
You know,
my good friend Mike Hill, I apologize.
Yeah, you didn't. You forgot it. Forgot all about me. But anyway, but yeah. So Eugene was talking about this thing called Empty People.
Yeah.
Right. Which is a cool name. And so
thank you. It was my idea. Thank you.
Very cool.
So what the fuck, man? Like, what's the story with Empty People?
Dude, I gotta tell you, yeah, Empty People is fucking crazy. So like, it's so crazy, dude. So like, here I am, like, you know, I'm from Greenfield, Massachusetts, a very rural town in Massachusetts. And I don't, you know, I'm lucky that I found, you know, the music that I found. I gotta owe a lot of that to my best friend, Dan Howard. He went to school in Amherst. He grew up in like, you know, the freaking Timbuktu forest of Leverett, Massachusetts, you know, hanging out with like bears and squirrels and shit. And like, but he went to Amherst. And at Amherst, he met this dude. I don't remember his name. I remember he had a giant head. And this kid listened to like all the shit. He knew everything. I mean, this guy was in the underground and he would hook us up with everything. He knew all the shit. Like, you know, whether it was Spaz or Crimson Curse or Nation of Ulysses, like this dude was fucking dialed in to the underground scene. And, you know, Dan hooked me up with like this like Spaz tape. And that's where I got introduced to like the West Bay power violence scene. And then I started checking out other things. So the reason all this story is important is the bass player of Empty People is fucking Frank from Agents of Satan, which is like this super important West Bay power violence band that was like, you know, they come from that power violence scene, but like a lot of those power violence bands, you know, what, you know, the thing that they all held in common was like super aggressive bass, like bass, like boom. You know, you don't get that with like the third wave bands where it's like, you know, I'm not saying this in a personal way, not that they would ever hear this, but whatever, like, you know, Weekend Nachos is more of the bands that people think of when they think of like the next wave of power violence, but they're grabbing on the wrong things in my mind. Like they might have still some of those like maybe banger mosh parts, but like they're going on more of the joke tip of it. But like Agents of Satan was on this whole like, guess by the name, super satanic tip where they were talking about like crazy shit. I mean, like all their stuff was like really satanic and sexual and just like, you know, freaking killing, and like the vocals are like wicked brutal. That guy Jason also sang in Dead Bodies Everywhere, which was this band from back in the day.
Yeah, I remember that.
Just super brutal lows and then like really like grim fucking black metal highs, you know, and mids. And it was just bass and drums and vocals originally. And then eventually Stinkweed played guitar on it too. And then it got really fucking weird, which was fantastic. Rest in peace, Stinko. But like, you know, I was listening to that shit when I was like a teenager. I remember getting the 7-inch, like Mike, I think we've talked about like that 7-inch Agents of Satan and Burn the Priest, which went on to be Lamb of God.
They did
Agents of Satan had a million splits out too.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were like some fucking underground OGs that like did the shit. So, you know, I grew up listening to that band and being a humongous fan. I even did a project actually with Hunter and Andrew Summers up here, where we did like, I wrote 2 songs. I played guitar and vocals, and we did like 2 songs I wrote, and then we covered an Agent song and a Gothically song, and we played 1 show, and then that was it. And like, you know, freaking, you know, love Agents. I moved out to the West Coast, and like I'd been in touch with those guys since 2000, and I met them at CB's back in the day. You know, it's kind of a long story. there's a photo that was on Stinkweed's fridge, in its cattle press, which had and Joey Capizzi.
Joe Capizzi, yep.
Yeah, from
You did some black stuff, Joe Capizzi.
He was in Dying Light,
Yep.
And so it's like Capizzi and it's Eddie Ortiz, and it was on freaking it was at CB's, and it was where Plutocracy played, and I went to that show. I took a bus with some friends. We stayed at fucking Matt Melnick's from Disassociate, and he thought I was Eddie Ortiz's brother, and I was like, nah, dude, just a skinny brown dude and shit. But I've been in touch with those guys for so long. I went out to the West Coast. I reached out to Frank, and I was like, hey man, I'm on the West Coast now. And he was like, hey, we should do something. I'm like, all right, cool. And he's like, I'm gonna send you some tracks. I'm like, all right, dude. He sent me the whole album. He sent me 14 songs or something.
Damn.
And like Mike was just talking about with like the pro level, like of the band. I don't want to say the name wrong. What?
Future Ascension.
Future Ascension. Yeah. Sorry.
Yeah.
I'm like, I didn't actually get together with this guy until like I was ready. And I didn't even play drums. I just listened to those songs, and then we got together, and we could have fucking played a show, like boom, immediately, because Frank was so prepared and so ready, and I was so prepared. We got together and just fucking hit it. And then all of a sudden I'm in this band with the dudes from Agents of Satan. I'm like, holy shit. So we're like, all right, cool. So we're like, we're gonna play some shows and stuff. We play with Kappa's Casualties. Like, oh my God. Now we're down 2 men in that band, like rest in peace. Holy shit. But like, I had been in touch with Eugene because I was on the Bloody Elbow board. Eugene came out to that Tomb show we played in San Francisco a long time ago.
I remember that.
So we stayed in touch. When I moved out to the West Coast, I stayed in touch with him too. I went actually with his team, with the Sorrow Academy team. They were like doing like there was this guy that was training with him that this was like a dude who, I don't know what he did. He probably worked like some type of tech shit. He was like, hey man, are you watching the fights this weekend, UFC? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, we're gonna watch it over at this dude who trains at Sorrow. If you come pick me up, you can come over and watch this stuff with us. And I said, all right, cool, man. So I freaking drove over the bridge. I went to Palo Alto and I picked him up, went to this place. His place was a nice house.
Oh yeah.
They had like a fucking water fountain in the front.
Holy shit, man.
The dude catered it. He's like, hey guys, there's a bunch of food over there. And it was all like, big old fucking trays of food that he had ordered. And it was like, yeah, there's beer in the fridge. There's another fridge downstairs full of beer. It's okay, guys. So it was like all these dudes, cauliflower eared, jiu-jitsu guys and all this shit. And we were actually watching, it was Eddie Alvarez versus Conor McGregor. Sad fight.
Oh, yeah.
So we all watched that there and stuff. So, Eugene and I were in touch there. And we went and we saw a fight in San Francisco together. So I said, hey, Frank, what do you think? What if I reach out to Eugene? And he was like, Eugene, that's where I'm from Roxwell. I'm like, yeah, man. He's like, holy shit. He's like, I guess so. And I'm like, yeah, it's worth a fucking shot, man. I think it'd be pretty cool because he's so different.
Yeah, that's always been my thing with Eugene. That's how unique his whole trip is with singing,
So I sent him a text and I said, hey, man, I'm doing this thing. You could be interested in checking it out. He said, sure, send it my way and I'll check it out. So he wrote back to me and he said, hey, listen, to paraphrase, he said something like, I'm getting older. He said, this type of aggressive music isn't not necessarily something that I would do or like feel artistically at this point in my life, but there's something about it that resonates with me because he's from the original 80s fucking New York hardcore punk.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah,
there's like photos of him at like Black Flag shows and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Totally, dude. Like back in the day, OG. He said there's something about it that resonates with me in such an 80s hardcore way that it would be a disservice for me with my background and my historical knowledge of what it is you guys are doing to allow someone else to do vocals on it.
Oh
'cause
shit. Okay.
they would not
Nice.
have that history and that knowledge. So he was like, I'll do it. So we recorded in San Francisco with TC, who he's like this old school. He's like he's part of the fucking West Bay COA. He's down with all those dudes, with Dan from Spaz and Frank and all those guys.
This was actually in San Francisco, this studio.
Yeah.
And it was like kind of like in a residential sort of area. Like it wasn't like I mean, maybe not residential, but it wasn't like well, where was it in San Francisco, I guess?
Kind of industrial, actually. It was at a practice space. Check this out. We're in the practice space, and I hear this like, like, and I'm like, wait a minute. Is that Jello Biafra? And they're like, yeah, Jello Biafra and the fucking Guantanamo band practice down the hall. I was like, holy shit. And Eugene's like, yeah, I'm not sure that guy wants to run into me.
That's a good impression of Jello Biafra, though.
Yeah. Thanks, man. So I was like, you know, they had like, you know, whatever, like, yeah, maybe butted heads or something. Or Eugene is just, he's so great, man. He really is. So like, we're fucking recording at this place with TC, and who he was the DJ for Shadow People. He did all the beats for them. And Eugene comes in, and he has his wife Kasha with him, and he sits down in the seat, takes his shirt off, just faces the microphone, and he's like, you know, hey, can you give me a lead in for what the first song is? Okay, all right, cool. And then he's like, okay, I'm ready. And then he freaking just hits it, does all the things, and he's like, all right, can you play that back from the beginning again? I'm like, okay. Plays it back from the beginning, hits it again. All right, can you do that back from the beginning? Do another recording, separate track, do a third track. Okay. It wasn't until like 3 songs in we realized he was having a conversation with himself. That all of the songs in which he did one take 3 times was a conversation with himself, where he'd be like, you got the bat, I got the bat. You got the chain, I got the chain. All right, let's play a game. Like, you know, like all of a sudden, it was crazy. We're like, holy shit, this guy's having a conversation with himself on each of these tracks. Dude, he did everything. He did 3 tracks on everything. So he probably did like, you know, 36 tracks total, one take, everything. And then was like, all right, thanks guys. I'm going to go out to dinner with my wife now. Thanks for everything. I'll see you guys later. And that was it. And he freaking pieced.
Wild.
He's fucking genius, that guy, man. Honestly, I've always felt that about him. I've always felt that dude is a genius, man.
He really is. I mean, and I know you wouldn't just throw that word around. I absolutely echo that. And it's not like, I'm like, oh my God, man, you know, so lucky to be able to work with him, but just to see him work too was like, oh my God, the way he just banged it out. And then once he realized what he was doing. So yeah, Empty People is Frank from Agents. Oh, he also did that Deny the Cross. Woody played drums on that.
Yeah, that's a great name too, by the way. But it's like, yeah, that stuff is awesome. Yeah.
And yeah, and Eugene did vocals, and I got to play drums on it, you know. And actually, you know, I know that's why I bring it up, and I appreciate too that it's coming out on Cardinal Lismo Records, which is like this just super underground West Bay, kind of like, they're like chronicling the history. You know, they put out like a Agents of Satan 2 LP discography, you know. They're like making sure that this shit does not like fall to the wayside. So like this guy, I don't even know his name, but Frank hooked up with him, and the guy's like, yeah, I want to put this out. So he's putting out that Empty People record, and it should be out sometime this year. I just got the test press.
That's awesome.
And I recorded that 4 years ago. I sent it to some people, shopped, you know, whatever. I sent it to some people, and I was like, hey, you think you'd like this? One person didn't even say shit. And that was kind of whack. And then that person was honest and was like, you know what, man, I don't actually like the way that the vocals work with the music. I don't think this doesn't really resonate with me. And I'm like, hey, thanks for being honest, man.
Fair enough.
So it's going to come out. And actually, the dude that I've talked to you guys about for the tape, the future
Oh,
tape,
yeah.
tape release.
Yes.
Down the road, post our thing, that might be a possibility there too, for sure. But the LP's coming out, on this Carnalismo Records out of California. Yeah, really stoked, man. I honestly wasn't sure it would ever see the light of day. It seemed I had grandiose ideas when I moved to the East Coast, like, we could play some shows here and people be interested in that. And, maybe we could cover a flight at least for one of these guys and just, make it work. So to see it, have it come to the light of day, freaking the end of 2022 is pretty fucking awesome.
That's cool, man. Like I do remember you sent me like a fucking like YouTube video of one of the songs or something.
Oh shit! I sent you a video of the actual live recording that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, and that's all. I'm like, wow, this is great. And then I almost forgot about it. And then Eugene was talking about it on the podcast, and I was like, oh man, that's like, that rang a bell, and I was like, oh, that must be that stuff you guys were working on.
Nice. Yeah. Was that a recent podcast?
Yeah, like I think within the last few weeks he talked about it.
Nice. Yeah, because he just got his test too. That's cool. I'd actually missed some show stompers, which I bet that's probably you're talking about the Eugene S. Robinson show stomper. Great show, great podcast. I recommend it to anybody.
Yeah, people definitely should check it out, especially if you're into MMA. But like, it's way more than just an MMA podcast too. You know what I mean? It talks about like all this like philosophical stuff. It's really cool.
Totally.
Yeah. But I want to, the next Scorpion Throne stuff, I'm, maybe be a little bit more ambitious with it, especially since I'd like it to be more of a group effort, you know what I mean? And try to actually have like, maybe see if someone's going to put it out or like, maybe do more. Because those 4 songs are like kind of dark and came from a really, really bad time for me.
Yeah.
So in a way, like part of it was like I put that out. I'm just like fuck it, like I don't care if anyone liked it or like if anyone really listened to it at all, And the people that I wanted to hear it were just people who were down, who are like already into stuff we're all doing, and who understand things. And I wasn't gonna try to like make fans or you know what I mean? Like I wasn't into like pumping it up and doing interviews and having people like, so who are your influences? That bullshit, you know what I mean? Like I just wanted to get it out into the world, and didn't really care if anyone liked it, but people seemed to dig it. But even whether or not people liked it or not, that still was not gonna not make more music. It was still gonna be like, even if no one liked it, I'd still want to continue working with you guys and like doing more stuff and just like crushing.
I love it, dude. I really love it, man. I am so proud of that art we did together, and I appreciate everything that you poured into it. And I know what you were going through at that time, and man, I truly feel it, and it comes through. And man, I got being like here when I first heard those riffs and playing along to them, and then when I was working on it, and the things that came out, it was like putting on like my favorite pair of running shoes or something. All of a sudden, I'm like, holy shit, this is like, I didn't realize that this was, it just came out. We haven't worked together in almost a decade, and all of a sudden,
It's been that long.
I mean, it's been, yeah,
definitely. When was the last time you guys worked together? Was that Savage Gold?
Savage Gold.
Fuck.
That was 2012, right?
Jesus, that's 10 years ago.
Yeah. A decade ago.
Fucking A, man.
But it felt just like, we just stepped back into it, and I knew what you poured into it, and I felt it. I was like, oh my God, I fucking like, I feel these riffs, man. I feel the fucking atmosphere in this, So I'll echo that, you know, I wouldn't give a shit if anyone fucking liked it. I'm so happy to work with you two guys and what we did. I'm so proud of it. I think it sounds fucking awesome. Thanks to Pete and Ninja for everything that they did on it. Like, holy crap. I can't believe I recorded that shit in like a fucking 20-degree garage, man. That was brutal. Brutal. I was taking a hot shower afterwards and I felt physically sick. I felt like I could throw up. I felt like I would never get warm. I've never felt like.
Did one of you guys almost get frostbite or something? This is a wet floor.
Pete couldn't feel his feet. Like,
oh man,
like 2 hours into it, he was like, I can't feel my feet. You know, he was wearing like mesh running shoes.
Running shoes, yeah.
Yeah. And it was literally like 21 Fahrenheit in my fucking garage. I borrowed some fucking space heaters. My buddy Brian Wilson, not the Beach Boy. He's one of the best drummers in Ithaca. He's amazing. His pocket is fucking amazing. I'm so lucky to have him as a friend. He let me borrow a bunch of mics and stuff. He was funny because I was like, hey man, can I borrow like, all right, so tops, bottoms, on the toms, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, so can I borrow like 12 mics? And he was like, who the fuck are you, Steve Albini?
12 mics.
Yeah, he hooked it up and he let me borrow a space heater too, you know, but it didn't do shit in that garage. Didn't do a thing, man. We were fucking freezing in there. So it's probably the most grim drum recording ever.
Well, I mean, what the coolest part about it too is it's just the whole thing. It's kind of like came together just through friendship, really, you know, and yeah, even people I don't know this guy, but he helped you out, you know, and there was like, you know, Ninja and Pete were involved and like
Bubba
Chrome Ryan, yep, just like dudes that you know, there's like depth of friendship involved in making a recording, and that, you know, it's like, you know, like I said, you know, I don't want to belabor the point, but you know, like I wrote all those songs in the middle of like some really horrible shit that was going on in my life, and the fact that everyone was able to come together to kind of make this into something positive was meaningful to me, you know, and I like that we had all of our friends involved, and that, you know, it's out there in the world now and it's done, and it's a way of like, you know, maybe turning the page and like walking through another portal, moving into a different part, you know, of my life specifically, but trying to continue with doing music and make the next thing maybe like a little bit more I hate to use the word uplifting, but like more ambitious, because it's gonna come from the next steps, you know what I mean? And you guys are gonna be part of like the whole synthesis of like the next step of like what we're gonna do next. I think that's really cool, you know?
Hell yeah. Mike, dude, I realize now, even, you know, as you know, it's crazy, there's three of us in this space right now. It's freaking awesome. We hadn't worked together in 10 years either, dude, because Painted Rust.
Yeah, dude.
There was almost the initial replicant.
Was it? Yeah, well, originally when me and Pete started it was actually us three. It was a 3-piece with Pete.
I didn't know. Andrew, you were originally in a lineup of replicant?
He was the interim drummer.
Oh, wow.
He lived so far away. We were writing the songs with Drew in mind. And
I remember talking to you on the phone, dude. I remember talking to you on the phone. I remember, I want to say I was like, yeah. I was in the parking lot across the street from kind of diagonal. I parked across from the Muay Thai gym. And I remember being in the car and talking to you about that stuff.
Yeah, right. It's like, I mean, it's just so much fun being a band with you. So it was wanted to continue, you know. But you know, the distance made it kind of impossible to make it work out. But yeah, I mean, now now we're finally in a band together.
Nice.
So we have the technology.
Yeah, right. I know. It's amazing.
Like a few, you know, if it was any different point of history, we probably wouldn't be able to do this, which is like really cool. Like to write fucking records and not even ever be in the same room. together. It's kind of cool,
Yeah.
It's wild, dude. Especially for like Mike Hill and I, who grew up on like telephones.
Yeah, right. Like landline telephones,
Totally.
rotary phones. Did you ever have that in your life, Mike? A rotary phone?
Not a rotary. Not a.
Like
I had a cord. I had the cord phone on the wall.
Yeah.
I had friends call me from payphones.
There you
Go
go.
hang out.
You don't see too many payphones these days.
No.
Definitely not. I wonder if they still exist.
Do they? Yeah, I think I saw one, but it was like all broken in Manhattan once, like not too long ago. It's all busted up. It said Bell Atlantic still, I think, on it.
It's like full of human feces.
Yeah, now I think like I remember as a kid, like there used to be a payphone in this campground I used to go to, and even back then, like the phone book was always full of spiders. And all these crazy bugs.
That's sick, man.
That is awesome.
I used to see the sickest bugs in there. Like,
it's filled with spiders.
Yeah.
The sickest bugs.
Yeah. Hey,
New Jersey's sickest phone book.
Yeah. In the Pine Barrens. There's a payphone in the Pine Barrens. So you might see some sick ass spiders.
That payphone's probably still there if it's in the Pine Barrens. That's like it's probably connects to another fucking dimension or something like that. Call someone on it, Like you just pick it up and it's like hello. I'm in another dimension.
Yeah, it's one of those phones in like fucking Loki that takes you to like the time police or whatever.
No, it's like the Jersey Devil takes you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, dudes, thanks for jumping on this, man. I wanted to get us all together because it's like, I don't even remember the last time the three of us even had a conversation. And, in light of the, Scorpion Throne thing coming out, and I just thought it was appropriate that we talked and just caught up on everything.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. Seriously, yeah. I mean, hey, dude, on the real, we don't get to talk that much. I miss you, Mike Hill.
Likewise, dude.
In a long time, man, dude. We've been friends for a super long time. It's wild when you go back and they're like, holy shit, dude. I've probably seen Anodyne's probably one of my top scene bands, and I fucking love the Everything Went Black podcast. So I'm like, oh shit, this is cool. I mean,
oh
yeah.
We're friends, but I'm also a fan. So like to be on, I'm like, holy shit, this is fucking wild. But it's so great to catch up with you and see you.
I just had Jesse from Ken Mode on as a
sick.
Yeah, he this will be out after that one, but I think so last week when it came out, we're talking the future now. Yeah, he was on, and he's another guy that good dude. I've known him forever.
Forever.
I got a chance to see him in Winnipeg when we were on tour. And so it was just like, it's like I saw him the other day. You know what I mean? It was like just no time had passed.
He still train?
Jesse?
Yes.
Oh yeah, definitely. I next time I go up there, I want to get some work in. I trained with Getz at his gym.
Oh yeah?
Nice. In Vancouver.
Yeah, what's his gym called again?
East Van Muay Thai.
Yeah. I listened to that podcast. That was a great one, dude. Getz is such a character.
Yeah, great dude. And he's like he seems really happy now.
Nice.
So it was good to connect with him, and that was rough, dude. We got into Vancouver, right?
Uh-huh.
They drove me to his gym, and like I trained with him for an hour. Just we did like an hour of like pad work, and then I went to load all the gear. And at 4:00, Jamie drove me back to the venue, and I loaded in, right? And then it's that you remember that neighborhood, the rickshaw?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Like
so, Mike G. That's like there's like a crazy like methadone clinic around the corner. That's like it's like 4 blocks of people lined up ready to go.
Well, that whole neighborhood is like it's like this desolate crackhead
Damn.
drug addict, like
Yeah.
zombie land.
Crackhead beach in the corner, like yeah.
Oh, dude, yeah, there you saw some shit when you were there, and like in the alleyway that leads to the venue, there's like some spray painted thing, like such and such was like murdered in this alley.
Holy shit.
Stuff. It was fucking brutal, man.
Oystein lives.
Yeah, like yeah, exactly. Yeah, right.
Oh.
And yeah, black metal. You know, just like skull. But yeah, so yeah, then Jamie dropped me off. Then I didn't get a chance to eat till like hours after that. Like,
Brutal.
shot because there's nowhere to go there. There was like
Totally.
no place to eat
Wow.
food really.
Yeah, you gotta like fucking huck out there. I remember looking for food out there, and it's just like, oh my god, dude.
Yeah, but yeah, it was good to see Jamie. I'm gonna try to like train with Jesse next time I'm up there.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sick.
Well, thanks, dudes, and you know, let's try to all stay in touch more, man. I think this would be cool, especially since we got stuff in the works and you know all that kind of stuff, man.
Definitely.
Fuck yeah, dude.
I'll be sending you some ideas, Mike.
Yeah, and I said, and Mike G, I see you around. You only live a couple of exits from here anyway, so
yeah,
I see you.
I was like 25 minutes away.
Yeah.
Hill, I got a thing actually. I'm actually working with the vocalist from Azra.
Oh no shit, Harrison.
Yeah, fucking Harris, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
he's
yes.
doing this thing with this dude from I think he's from Long Island, Tom. It's called Summary Execution. It's a grindcore. And he was like, "Hey man, you want to play? We recorded a drum machine. You want to do drums on this?" And I was like, "Yeah, sure. You know, it's grindcore, it's just blast beats. Send it my way. I'll do it." And I listened to it and I was like, "Holy shit, this is fucking awesome!"
Like
So,
300 BPM on a drum machine or something.
thankfully, it took it easy on me. There's nothing crazy. It's only 200 or something. It's pretty
Yeah,
Only
it's
200.
pretty slow. Pretty slow.
It's slow.
I'm glad to see that he's doing stuff again. That guy always had a super fucking brutal voice, man. Harris.
Yeah. Yeah, good front man. Good dude. Nice dude.
Nice guy. Very nice.
Works
guy.
for the fucking MTA.
Yeah, I know. Like we kind of stay in touch a little bit, me and Harris. He got like really into like weightlifting and stuff, and like I think he trains Muay Thai at this place out on I think either Queens or Long Island or something like that.
Nice.
Yeah, no, he's a good dude. You know,
Totally.
I always like that guy. Yeah. So enjoy the rest of your evening, guys, and you know, thanks for everything. And you know, I'm looking forward to making more music with you guys.
Fuck yeah, man.
Likewise.
Thanks, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you
Take
both
care,
of you.
guys.
Hell yeah.
Have a good night.
You
Good
too.
night,
Peace,
guys.
brothers. Love you guys.
Peace.